Hi guys, Steph here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a year ahead oracle card reading based on the post I put out a couple of days ago asking whether or not you wanted a reading this week or a meditation. A lot of people voted reading, a lot of people said meditation, a lot of people said both. So I'm doing the card reading today, and then hopefully by the end of the week I'll have a new meditation up on the channel. So stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have the notification bell on because things get lost in the matrix of YouTube, so stay updated by hitting that bell. Cards. I'm going to speed up this section because it's going to take ages to follow those cards. So just while I'm doing this and while you're watching the speed through, just watch with your eyes open, breathe deeply, just pay attention to the cards I'm picking, and then I'm going to place them at a pile. One for chrysocolla, which is a beautiful stone representing silence, and then clear quartz as well. And amethyst, of course, which always makes a showing when I do a crystal that represents the card pile. So just, paying attention to that. I'm going to start with this one first. So again, just choosing either the pile that you're most attracted to as I was pulling, or choosing the crystal that you're most attracted to. If you need to, pause the video, take as long as you need to sort of drop down into that beautiful spacious field of the heart, dropping into the intelligence system of the body, and just trusting that instinct that just, I want that one, that one's for me, and you'll know. So we're going to start first with chrysocolla. So I'm going to call this pile number 1. Timestamps will be in the description box down below. So have a look at those if you want to skip ahead to yours or listen to the whole thing. It's completely up to you, but we are starting with pile 1, which is going to be the beautiful blue-green chrysocolla. We're going to start first with the lessons from 2020. So Weave the Future Golden. 2020 for you was turning information into understanding through experience for you. A lot of when we walk on the spiritual path, we hear a lot of things about manifesting, about bringing what is destined for you into your present moment, living your ideals, living your purpose, living your heart's truth. All those things are really important aspect of being a human on this planet. And when we start listening to a lot of spiritual content, we hear a lot about manifesting. And it's not just about vision boards and thinking about what you want, affirmations. It's the feeling nature. Feelings are magnetic in nature. When you feel feelings, you are attracting the very same experiences that replicate that feeling. So you've definitely learnt that in 2020. Whatever your predominant feelings are, whatever you are repeating again and again for weeks at a time, you've learned that, if you're angry for weeks at a time, you're attracting situations that invoke more anger. If you are joyful for periods of a time, you attract situations, people, circumstances that create more joy. If you're feeling abundant, if you're noticing all the things that you're grateful for, you notice that you've attracted more of that abundance into your life. So that is definitely a lesson to carry forward into 2021. It's valuable. Please reflect on it. Please spend time just thinking, remembering, reflecting on situations where this has been true for you. Whether it's been negative or positive, either way, it's valuable learning. Sometimes negative situations draw our attention the most, and that is where your attention goes, energy flows. So that's where the real learning is. And if we begin to shift our perspective and notice a little bit more about the times that this worked in a positive way, for example, attracting more loving relationships, attracting financial abundance, attracting health and well-being into your life, more energy, more vitality, your plants are growing around you, everything's healthy and abundant. So just really take some time to reflect on 2020 and how this has been true for you, because it is a powerful lesson. When you do that, you truly become a creator of your life experience. When you know that your thoughts and, more importantly, your emotions and that predominant vibrational frequency that you're emitting into the field is creating reality around you. You are a powerful creator, and you've definitely learned that in 2021. Now, Sisters of the Sun Rising is a card about your overarching theme for 2021. And it's all about collaboration and finding your voice and balancing your voice in group energy. You've perhaps spent a lot of time, now there's two ways that this could go. You've either spent a lot of time in solitude learning these lessons and developing your spiritual nature and your spiritual work, and you've shied away from other people with good reason. Oftentimes while we're doing this work, it's good to stay solo, listen to your own inner voice and cultivate that. If you have been doing that, it's time for you to step forward into group energy and begin to integrate the lessons, the wisdom that can be learnt from working with groups of like-minded people. So stepping out and doing that, and really finding your balance and finding your voice, finding your power within group energy to work coherently together. What's coming up, if this is you, there's a little theme, kind of like a minor theme coming through, that is learning to speak last. Oftentimes people don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion reflected back at them through your voice. So just really giving people space to just feel intelligent, feel like they're needed. Because there's always something to learn from somebody you encounter, whether or not you judge them as lower than you or better than you or whatever it is, there's always something of wisdom to pull out of people. So yeah, really stepping forth into 2021 and interacting with people and pulling out the wisdom and the insight that they can teach you, and working with groups, so perhaps joining a class, maybe you're going back to study. And yeah, I guess that makes complete sense because 2020, we've all been cocooned in our little world. So yeah, and then there is that kind of opposite one, which does need to be said, that if you have been spending a lot of time in group energy and relying on those people to tell you who you are and what you should think and how you should act or how you should behave, it's time to step a little bit more into solo time where you're, reading, reflecting, writing, researching, learning about what it is that makes you feel fully alive without the opinions of other people. So yeah, that's the theme. And yeah, we'll just go with that for now, and we'll see how the other cards kind of imprint this major theme. So your spirit guide for 2021 is the mouse. And straight away when I'm looking at this card, I just feel a sense of joy, but there's also like the possibility of greatness. I'm getting reminded of this book and this group on Facebook, The Giants and the Smalls. It's a story of this small who has a feeling that there's more to him and he could be more and he could do more. So he goes off in search for a giant and wants to learn the ways of the giant. So yeah, just check out that book. I really think it's going to give you more insight than I can give you. We learn best through story, right? It invokes something within us, that awe, that wonder, that childlike nature. Not childish nature, that childlike nature, that you're just a clean slate to absorb information that your soul recognizes. So yeah, mouse spirit is also reminding you this year to not focus too much on the finer details, to really step up and look at the bigger picture, and then really work out your big picture in your health and your relationships. What is it that you want to achieve in your career or your work or in your health, in your relationships, and all the major fields that are important to you, and then work backwards down from that big idea. And as a school teacher, that's what I do. What is the outcome that I want my students to get from this area? And then I work backwards there and I plan the steps, and they're always keeping in mind that big picture and comparing what I'm thinking, what I'm doing in the present moment, the actions that I'm taking to that bigger picture, because sometimes we can just lose focus, and that's what the mouse represents. So we don't want to be a small, we want to be a big, we want to be a giant. So yeah, check out that book, remember that, work with it. Anytime you see a mouse, just remember that. Don't scream or kill it or anything like that. Just remember that lesson. So yeah, mouse spirits. All right, so Nectar of the Lotus for January, February, March, sort of overarching energy that's coming through in the first 3 months of the year. And it is basically, reconnecting to that part of you that nectar of the lotus is like if we think of nectar, it's that stuff that sustains life. It's sweet, it's juicy, it's life affirming. And the nectar of the lotus is the heart chakra. So focus on the things that squeeze your heart chakra and ooze out that beautiful nectar and that joy. The things that make you feel abundant, make you feel energized. So really protect and stand guard to who you're spending your time with, what you're watching, what you're reading. Really, stand guard to your mind and to your heart. I've said that before in a previous reading, and that's really coming through again. And just only allowing in those energies, those experiences, those people, those books, the media, whatever it is that squeeze and affirm that life-sustaining energy, if you will. So just nourishing yourself through that for January, February, March. You might, the feelings of guilt might arise if you're spending a little bit more time on yourself than you're used to. We've all had a tough 2020. Everybody knows it. Some of us have fared better than others, but all of us need to do the work to really take care of ourselves and be responsible for ourselves in that matter. The more that you do that, the more you can show up for the people in your life anyway. So just January, February, March, focusing on the things that bring you joy, making time for them. And if I keep talking, it's going to go too long. So we'll go to April, May, June, which is Maiden Magoo. So April, May, June, things are going to come up for you that are going to be a little bit more challenging. And I think this is why I was pulled to get a challenge card, because something's going to come up in a year that always challenges you, unless you just have this magical year all of a sudden. But what I'm getting is Mother of Mercy is connected to this card, and it's basically manipulation, strawmanning, guilt, shame. Something's going to pop up into your life to make you feel these feelings on a repetitive basis. It's going to be a challenging quarter of the year for you, but the reason we do this stuff is just to kind of have a little bit of a higher perspective. So when it pops up, you go, oh yeah, actually, I already knew this was going to happen. So I'm going to walk into this situation with awareness, with compassion, with awareness that people can only think, speak, and act from their level of consciousness. So just come back to this, write a note, come back to this when it hits that time of the year, and just know that, hey, my higher self gave me a heads up that this was coming, and I'm meant to approach this with awareness, with grace, with compassion, with the highest level of consciousness that I am capable of bringing to this situation. And you will see that there's a lot of healing for you there, that this situation's coming up at this time because it's ready to be healed. And if it doesn't arise, how can it be integrated? How can it be cleared? I think that's why you've been guided to do this sort of squeezing of the heart chakra and really getting strong and connected to your inner voice, your authentic nature, the joyful part of you, so that you have a strength and wisdom coming into this part of the year. So just be aware of that. You'll be fine in this part of the year, but just know that some situations coming up might be challenging work situation, challenging relationship situation. Be aware that it might be you being the person manipulating, strawmanning, doing all that stuff. If it is, amazing opportunity to transmute that, bring in a higher perspective, recognize that you can't control others, even though you might believe that your way is better. So being aware that it's two sides of the coin. It might be you doing it, not just always other people doing it to you. So we'll leave that one there. So that was January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So this is another coming out of that phase with awareness, with clarity. You're going to move into a few months of really flow. The Tao kind of represents that divine, universal awareness, a consciousness that permeates all things in existence. This is coming through for this part of the year for you because you're going to drop into this state of flow and surrender. It's going to be a really creative time of year for you because you're not relying on what you think you know or what you want to know or what you think you are, but you're relying and tapping into that deeper intelligence and wisdom that created worlds and created planets and created the perfection of this world. in all of its uniqueness and duality. You're tapping into something really amazing there. Also coming up is to be flexible at this time of year. You may be creating and thinking in ways that are unfamiliar to you, but it is, if you're tapping back into what you've sort of developed here at the beginning of the year, that strong foundation, you will know it's safe. Circumstances might arise, opportunities might arise where, it's unknown, but just check in with yourself. You will know it's right for you if it feels, expansive, uplifting, peaceful, even though it's challenging, even though it's new, even though it's unknown. And it will feel restrictive and draining if it's not right for you. So yeah, another beautiful time for you. So it's like starting off, doing the work, creating that foundation, a bit of a challenge arising, bringing consciousness in, bringing awareness in, and then moving from that, and it gets from the lessons you've learned there, back into this state of flow and harmony and grace and creativity. And then the last part of the year, Sacred River Yangtze. So you're going to have a change. The direction of your life purpose, life story is, the change is imminent. It's like you're going down a river, then all of a sudden it forks in two, and you think you want to go that way, and you plan to go that way on the map, but you're going to go that way, and it's going to be a change. So that's kind of linking back to the Tao and trusting and flowing with the universal intelligence rather than allowing fear to take over. So yeah, change is happening, a cleansing, a purifying, just getting rid. If it's a physical move, don't take with you that which is not necessary. These feelings of kind of more minimalism of coming up, living more simply, living more gracefully, focusing more on connection and community rather than things and the material world. This is also, as much as I'm trying to go in depth, this is still pretty surface level. So once you get to each part of the year, come back to this, remember what you're doing, and perhaps, go a little bit deeper with your own cards, your own meditation practice, or your own way to sort of delve in deeper to this time of year and what needs to be done. You can always contact me for a one-on-one reading to go a little bit deeper at that time of year for you if you want to. We'll move on to the last card, which is a message from your higher self. It's to just trust when things are going wrong. Not necessarily when things are going wrong, when things are going different from what you had planned. Just trust that when you're in flow with that Tao energy, when you're doing the work of squeezing your own heart chakra, when you're in flow, when you're, you don't always have to be happy and positive. It's not about that, but it's about surrendering to that peace and that wisdom inside of you. When you're in that place, it's like, that metaphor of the butterfly. It doesn't know what's happening. It just goes into this cocoon, and there's this metamorphosis, and it's uncomfortable, and it's kind of gooey and gross. And then there's this rebirth that is unimaginable. Like, whose mind could imagine the caterpillar turning into a butterfly? Like a highly, there's no words for it. An ineffable intelligence thought of that. And you don't have to have everything figured out. You can trust that ineffable intelligence to figure it out for you too. The butterflies looked after, so too are you. All right, guys, so we're on to card pile number 2, which is the beautiful clear quartz crystal, if you've chosen that one. So we're going to start with card number 1 that represents your 2020, the major lessons that you've learned. So what's coming through is Sisters of the Star Blossoms, which is basically group energy, and whatever groups that you were, it was probably popping up in your head right now, the group that you're thinking of, but there was perhaps an imbalance in power in the group, and you not being able to step into your full authority and share your true self, your true opinions, be your whole self, whether it's in friendship groups or if it's in a workspace, being able to put forth your opinions. Group energy is really powerful. Mass consciousness is really powerful. Herd mentality is really powerful. So we have to really be aware as much as we can in group situations to not get caught up in that herd mentality and not start thinking and speaking and acting just like others are. We have to bring a high level of consciousness to our encounters with other people, especially if we're told not to question. That's when you need to question even more. So yeah, you kind of learnt that lesson that group energy is really powerful, and really how to step back and see how you're being swayed into certain things or certain decisions, perhaps even when it doesn't align with your core values. Perhaps even that core values is coming up, you've learned how important they are and how important it is to recognize them and then make your decisions based on your core values. Decision making becomes really easy once you know what you stand for. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything, right? But when you know what you stand for, it's really easy when you're faced with a decision. Hey, do you want to come out drinking? No, it doesn't stand for what I believe to be my core value of health. So, you've really learnt those lessons and how to stick to what you believe to be true. That's going to serve you well in all the years of your life. So really reflect on how that has come to pass for you in 2020. Don't go into 2021 without reflection. It's like being offered gold and just putting it in a box under the couch and forgetting about it, because I don't know, it's a really weird metaphor, right? But anyway, you've been offered gold in 2020 in regards to your interactions in relationships. Really review them, go over how this is true for you. Yeah, that's 2020 for you. 2021, really exciting. So you've got the threshold. The major theme, the major key theme for you in 2021 is walking that balance between fear and love. So you're going to be offered situations, people, circumstances. You're going to have to choose whether you're going to live in a love-based reality or a fear-based reality. And fear is speaking within you because, fear will say things like there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough resources, I don't have enough support. Fear will always revert back to thoughts of lack, feelings of restriction, feelings of worry, anxiety. You will know when you're in fear. When you're in love, it's completely different. When you're living in a love-based reality, there is a trust and an underlying sense of peace that you know the next right move. You're sort of on the threshold there, and you've come into 2021 on the threshold. You've learned a lot. It's given you a higher perspective to kind of sit on the fence and see and make that choice. Which side do I want to lean onto? And it's always a choice. So you've sort of just been gifted by grace a step up onto the fence to see what it's like to live in both realities, to feel what it's like to live and experience what it's like to live in both, because you've had experiences in that fear-based reality, always feeling scarcity and lack, and not knowing is not a bad thing, but just the anxiety that comes with thinking that you must have it all figured out before you need to make a step is, that fear-based reality. And then you've also had experiences in love-based reality where you trust the decisions that you're making, you listen to your own inner authority, and you take also the opinions of your outside world and, evaluate them and synthesize them and look at them and pull the wisdom that's there. So yeah, you're kind of on that fence, and you can choose which one to live in at any time from that awareness. And that's what 2021 is offering you, that major theme. Where do I want to fall into? And I believe that's why, Black Egg's making sense. You've got Black Egg as your spirit guide for the year of 2021. It's not a spirit animal. It's more the spirit of the spirit animals, if you will. So, that egg represents that potentiality, that what could be born into the world. And the black egg holds our truth. And it's sort of a card that represents bringing forth that truth, that unmanifested reality to a manifested reality. So, it's got a lot to do with that, being able to speak your truth that we talked about and what happened for you a lot in 2020. And the same thing with that love and fear, being able to speak your most authentic truths and live your most authentic self, regardless of other people's fear-based opinions and what's going on in their world. That's what living in love is. So yeah, the black eggs come to really ask you to go within, reflect on it, and spend some time finding out what it is that are your core truths, your core values, your core beliefs. Yeah, and then bringing forth that unmanifested, bringing forth thoughts, the feelings, that nature that you are, and speaking it out of your throat chakra is bringing something non-physical into physical, which is sound. So bringing that forth and speaking your truth. Yeah, less gossip, less complaining, less getting stuck in those cycles. Black Egg is there to remind you that your words are powerful, and also that, you know, perhaps you're stepping into this year a position of greater authority where your words are more powerful and they're reaching more people, and people are taking your words as a source of wisdom and authority. So you do have to be careful with the words that you speak and reflect, you know, before speaking. Is it true? Is it kind? What's the other one? This is like a Buddhist thing, right? Yeah, that's what Black Egg is coming to remind you of, that unmanifested potential, really getting it clear and then birthing it forth in the world. So, you know, spend some time. You know what, you might even be spending the whole year working that out, and that's fine. It's not something that should just be worked out in a day, and then if you don't have it, you failed. It takes time. It takes honest self-reflection, and it takes practice and fucking up and then coming back and reflecting and going over it again. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on to the quarters of your year. So we're going to start first with January, February, March. So you've got blessings of the Moon Maiden. So basically the first 3 months of the year, auspicious tidings are coming to you. It's sort of like luck of the hair. You'll be gifted things that are of value to you in different forms, like financial abundance, people that bring you joy, maybe even loving relationships. Maybe you'll be able to finish that project that you've been working on. It's like blessings of just flow and abundance, and like it will just look like luck. Beautiful, beautiful start to the year for you. So expect that and really bring it forth by feeling the feeling of appreciation and gratitude and joy for just what you already have been blessed with. So yeah, it's coming, but just make space by remaining in that state of gratitude. And yeah, if you don't have a gratitude practice already, the first 3 months of the year is a beautiful time to start that habit and integrate it into your year ahead. Gratitude is always the most potent force that expands limitations that we experience in our human form. If I was just going to come on YouTube and say one thing, it would be gratitude. And that's it. I'd say have a gratitude practice, and I'd walk away knowing that I've offered something of value, basically. Gratitude is truly the key to opening so much potential in your reality. So work on that January, February, March. Pull it through for the rest of the year. The second quarter of the year, April, May, June, you've got Mother Fierce. So I'm feeling like you're going to be approached with a situation that's quite challenging, circumstance that's quite challenging. Your guide, your higher self wants you to know that you don't need to worry, because during this time, and truly always, you are in the most fiercely loving and protective energy that the universe has to offer. It's like you are sitting right in the heart chakra of Mother Earth, and she's using her full force, like tornadoes and earthquakes and volcanoes and storms, to protect you. Like nothing is getting through to the core of the Mother Earth. And even if it does make it through the volcanoes and all that stuff, they're not making it through the rock and the molten core of Mother Earth. They're not making it through. Nothing's making it through there. You are safe and fully protected in this time. So it's probably things that are out of your control. Life has a way of, you know, being unfair, and more than unfair, life can take us to a breaking point, and we can often stay there for periods of time. But just know that this too shall pass, and you are being held, and the people that you love are being held in this energy. So just know that you are safe, and come back to this and know that and sit in that. Sweeping Sister Willow is coming through June, July, August. So there's going to be forgiveness. So this sadness that comes through, this hurt, this pain, it could be some sort of betrayal. Something's going to need forgiveness. Something's not going to be needed to sweep away. Forgiveness is never for the other person. It is always for yourself and for the higher good. So just letting things fall away. It's like that Sweeping Sister Willow, like the willow tree. You know, trees, they bloom and then the leaves turn brown and they fall to the ground, but the leaf becomes, when it decays, it becomes part of the nutrients of the soil that sustains the root system and sustains the tree and provides everything that's necessary, along with, you know, water and sunshine, which is the grace of God, to be rebirthed and the tree to flourish again and bloom again. So it's a part of the cycle. And yeah, forgiveness is coming in, letting go. So just, yeah, revisit this again. Make space for that. Forgiveness isn't just a one-time event where you just say, I forgive you and it's over, or I forgive myself and it's over. It usually comes in cycles. I recommend during that time, Women Who Run with Wolves. It's a beautiful book to get your hands on during this time, and there is a section or a chapter in there that's all about forgiveness, and the way that she talks about that is far more articulate and wise than I ever could. So get your hands on that, and if you remember, make a note, put a reminder in your phone. It's going to serve you then. And then the last part of the year, we're looking at a rebirth. So a phoenix burns in the ashes and then is reborn. Like, to me, this looks like the fire, like the part that's the most painful. And then this is like the smoldering after, you know, when, you know, the waters come through and it's cleared, and then there's rebirth. And that is, gosh, I don't even know. Again, it's like this ineffable energy is coming through. This something that needs to be experienced by you. I can't articulate it, but there's a rebirth. It's like you're going to have such strength and power, this underlying sense of peace because of what you've gone through, and the world and its trivialities can't affect you in the same way, but the world can affect you in the way that the realness of the world, you know, people's pain and suffering, you can hold space for that in the most compassionate, loving way because you've been through it. You know, you think of the people that are the greatest souls that have walked this earth, like Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela and all these greats, these giants. They have been burnt in ways that we can't even comprehend. Even Kuan Yin herself, that's what happened to her. So yeah, there's this amazing rebirth. And I really hope this reading hasn't like worried you. It's not, it almost seems like I've said that this year's going to be really terrible for you, but it's just a perspective. It doesn't mean that interlaced in these months isn't periods of great joy. Again, it's that higher perspective that allows you to come in and not be sideswiped, if you will. So yeah, Call to the Celestial Mountain is basically the challenges that you will face in this year can be transmuted powerfully when you accept the grace and love and support of divine beings who love you unconditionally. So call in your divine support team, allow them to protect you. I'm assuming if you listen to this, you have a belief and you have faith and trust that there are higher forces looking after you. So go to that, go to a place within you that you have access to that, and you will be fine, and you will grow in great strength and wisdom and peace. And yeah, great start to the year, lots of blessings, a challenge, forgiveness, rebirth. What a year, right? Amazing. Drink from the Emerald Fountain is a message from your guides about everything that's happening for you this year, and it basically means allow yourself to be nourished by the part of you that is connected to the all. So drink from the Emerald Fountain, drink from your heart chakra, do meditations that connect you inward, and just allow yourself to be nourished from within. Of course, you can be nourished by the people in your life and you can lean on them for support, but make sure, you know, you don't get everything you need from the outer world. There is a source, a wellspring within you that you can go to at any time of the day, in any situation, and receive just a drenching and restoring of peace and gratitude and well-being and all that beautiful stuff, even amongst the chaos. If you do that, you are stronger than me, that's for sure. So we're going to move now on to the amethyst pile, and we're going to start with Immortal Treasures. So that was your 2020. That was your learning in 2020. So basically what Immortal Treasures is saying is that you've recognized some gifts, some talent, some potential in you that was calling forth. And these gifts it's like encoded into you at birth, like it was brought from the other heavenly dimensions. It was with you, it's encoded into your DNA. Gifts, skills, talents, you've been awakened to them. Even if it's only in a small way, even if you've just followed the urges, followed the insights, being like, oh, I'm kind of interested in doing kickboxing, and you've followed that urge and you've started the classes and you've found a strength in you that you didn't know you had before. Everybody needs something just apart from the day-to-day grind. We need something that invokes that sense of well-being within us and that joy, and stops us from just mindlessly scrolling through our phone. So yeah, you've recognized that within you in 2020, and that's going to be really important to reflect on. If it's not making a lot of sense for you, go back and reflect on your year. It's so important not to leave the gold in 2020 because it is there. You are a healer, and you know that, and you've learned that, and in your own unique way you heal the people around you. And it doesn't have to look like being a doctor or being a naturopath, or it doesn't have to look like being a Reiki master. It's in your own unique way that you heal the people around you, even if it's only healing yourself and living the truest potential of yourself. When you do that, you prove to the people around you that it is possible, and they are inspired by you. And that's walking through this earth with the greatest purpose. So yeah, go back and reflect on that, because there is so much gold in 2020 for you to pull forth. So I guess that makes sense then, because Tai Chi Rising is your overarching theme for 2021, which basically means you're going from a V4 to a V8. Your words, your actions, your thoughts, your emotions have a greater gusto, a greater attractive field, a greater magnetic power. So you really have to be careful. The lessons and the key theme for this year is to be aware of that power and that growing energy field. It doesn't mean that what you're attracting is better, but you're attracting more of it. So you've got to be really careful about the predominant energy field that you are emitting. Gratitude again comes up. That is the most potent force to clear the energy field and make sure that you're attracting things that you want to attract in life, right? So yeah, Tai Chi Rising, your energy's rising. Vulture is your animal spirit for 2021. And we had mouse for Chrysocolla, and the animal spirits that are coming through aren't necessarily the cool ones that everyone wants, tiger and elephant. But vulture is so amazingly powerful, and it makes so much sense coming out of 2020 with all the COVID crap, right? Vulture actually is a powerful, a vital aspect of the ecosystem. Vultures actually help minimize and contain any disease and spread. And they also turn what is seemingly rotting and crap into something of value. They use the foods, turn it into nutrients, and support their ecosystem. Beautiful guy to work with. So call it in, work with it as much as possible. And yeah, we're going to move on now to January, February, March. Orchid Priestess of Destiny. I'm trying to do it with the lights not shining. Is it working? It's a really dark card, so it's kind of hard. But Orchid Priestess of Destiny basically represents that the next 3 months there's going to be a calling. We already talked about those inner urges, those inner nudgings. What was calling you last year is still calling you forth, and it's going to be like a soft flute playing within. Kuan Yin's playing the flute there, and your purpose, what you're meant to be doing on the, we have two purposes, right? We have that deeper purpose just to bring awareness, be conscious in our points in our coordinates in space-time, and allow the universe to see and feel and taste and touch through us. That's our deeper purpose, and the purpose we share with everyone in humanity. But then we also have that higher purpose, that manifest purpose. It's unique to us and our own gifts and skills and talents. And that is continually calling you forward. So don't forget about the things that you were doing in 2020, the hobbies, the interests, or whatever that you were working on. Don't forget about them now that we move into a little bit more stability, depending on where you are in the world. That is going to keep calling you forward again and again. So listen to it. Doesn't matter how many times you ignore it, it's going to be there, and it's going to be loud in the first few months of the year. So yeah. Then the Empress of the Pearl. If you know how a pearl is formed, you've got the shell, and inside is like a pearlescent gooey substance. it doesn't actually form into a pearl until something gets in to irritate that substance, like sand or a parasite. And then when that happens, the substance hardens into a pearl, something of value, something that people want to pay for. So whatever irritation is coming in whatever form, from your higher perspective, which you're getting here, welcome it in, because it's going to help harden the substance within you. It's like you've been in the early stages of learning something, and then something comes in to challenge that. And if you keep moving forward with a bit of perspective, a little bit of awareness that you'll get through it and it will be fine, you're going to create something of real value. Things are going to come in that challenge you, that annoy you, that frustrate you, whatever. Come in with that higher perspective, and it's like a little heads up from your higher self that, hey, something's coming in. But when you have that perspective, it's like having the inside scoop. It's like the way a child, is crying because they want a second ice cream, but the mother doesn't give them the second ice cream, not because they want the child to suffer, but because they know that it's not good for them. The mother, who's had a lot more life experience, knows that 2 ice creams is going to make you sick, but the child doesn't know that. And that's like us and our higher self. It knows. So sometimes we scream and cry and blah blah blah, but the higher self is doing this for you because it knows. It's had years and years, lifetimes and lifetimes of experience. So yeah, just trust that whatever comes in is meant to come in. It's going to teach you something. So yeah. And then we're going to the Lotus Throne. I feel like you're a creator of some type, writer, content creator, artist. You're creating something because you're going to start putting your own unique signature in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. This is like the 3rd time I've gotten this. You're going to start putting your own unique signature on things. The signature of your soul is going to start coming forth and be expressed and spoken. The Lotus Throne represents your heart, where your higher self resides, that inner guide, that teacher sits, and you're going to start bringing forth that voice to put your own signature on things. And this all stemmed from back in 2020, just listening to the urges, listening to the sound of that flute calling you forth, allowing things to come in, strengthen you, harden you, give you more wisdom and more knowledge. And now you are taking that and putting your own unique signature on it. Okay, so that's a really prosperous, industrious time for you. A lot of creating, a lot of good stuff's going on. And then we've got Gates of Heaven to finish off the year, which looks like a really dark card. It can represent a couple of things. We are human beings, and our brain waves, our scalar waves are interacting with other people's. And a lot of time that we will subconsciously tune in and sync with the people around us. So a lot of our thoughts aren't always necessarily our own. And you need to be aware of that at the end of the year, because as soon as you start putting your own unique signature on things, other people's opinions start coming in, and they start telling you how you should do things and why you should do things. And that can really influence, and you just have to be careful not to sync up too much with other people's fear-based opinions, because that will come in just because, and it comes in from the most loving places, like our parents and our family members and our friends. Like, they don't believe that they're capable of doing what you're doing, so they project their fears onto you. So just be aware of that. So Call of the Dancing Crane is a little bit of a challenge that you're facing, a little bit of stuck, stagnant energy. Perhaps a change needs to occur, picking yourself up out of your usual environment, whether that's your workspace, your home, or just repeating the same activities in the same places. Maybe you go to the same bar, you go to the same park, or you go to the same beach, or just a little bit of change in your routine can really help spark new creative potential if you get stuck in your flow. If you are that creator and you are working on putting your own unique signature on things, when you feel that stagnancy and that stuckness, a change in scenery can help. A change in where you write, a change in where you paint, a change in where you surf, a change in where you train at the gym will really be beneficial for you, just to kind of get out of the loops and the cycles and that astral gravity of the same place and the same things. When we go on holiday somewhere, we're more present in the moment because we don't have as much time to think. because our senses are taking in a new environment. We're perceiving new cells, new smells, and new sights. So we're really just forced into the present moment. And that's a really simple technique to just take us out of our habitual thinking loops and put yourself in a new environment that's different. And yeah, just see how much more your creativity and your energy flows. Oh, and that makes complete sense, because you've got Veil of Shadows is a message from your higher self. Kind of looks like a dark card as well, but it's actually a really insightful card. It's basically, this year you're going to be growing really fast with everything that we talked about, with your potentials and your gifts and your skills, that the roots are going to start to hit the sides of the pot, and the tree's going to stop going, and the plant's going to stop growing. So you need to move yourself up into a bigger pot to allow the roots to spread through the soil and grow stronger and faster. So that's a move, a physical location move. So yeah, I feel like that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this in-depth reading was good. If it was good, I'm losing it now. I've been talking for too long. If you liked it, please give it a like. Comment down below which pile you picked, what was relevant to you. Tell me your thoughts, tell me your feelings, tell me anything really. I love communicating with you. I love talking with you. And as always, I am available for one-on-one readings, either via Zoom in real time or distance readings, which is just a video reading that I send to you. I chuck you up a private link on YouTube here, and you can watch it as many times as you like. It's also personalized channeled meditations. And yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.